shout. Always Irish shout. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison! I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship! That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing! Doing a damn thing! The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Oh, Irish! Oh, Irish! Oh, Irish! Oh, Irish! Irish! Yeah, that's right. Oh, Irish! Oh, Irish! Oh, Irish! Oh, Irish! Irish! Yeah, that's right. Oh, Burr! Man, I'm stupid. Anybody living anywhere where it gets this cold is just stupid. And you really can't complain about it because it's like, bro, you live here. You're a grown-ass adult. You could move to Florida permanently. Like, I can't complain about it because you're an idiot. Like, I live here. It's negative 80 degrees. We have, what are them called? Ice quakes, whatever it is. Dude, in the middle of the night, I'm just hearing these loud noises and bangs. Everything's freezing. I don't know, man. The dogs come in from outside shaking. The older one. It's hilarious. I got an older dog and a younger dog in the coon variety. And the younger one's all athletic and whatever, goes out to pee in 1 second, comes back to do it. The older one's wandering around. She comes in, her legs are shaking. Oh. Hey, if you choose to live here, you got to deal with it. It's unbelievable. In Illinois, I swear we have 2 seasons, 98 degrees humidity and negative 46 degrees. Those are it. Anyways, welcome in, welcome back. I hope everybody's warm. I hope everybody's safe. I know it's a big deal. You know, literally the safety that when it's this cold, nothing even works. The garage door's creaking when it moves. Like you're just hoping the heat don't go out. Anyways, I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad you're back. I have something fun to go over today. I want to throw at you guys and see what you think. Anybody that wants to call in with anything, let's be realistic. We're in an in-between spot here after the regular season, after the playoffs, and then until we get into spring ball, because there's going to be some legitimate excitement for spring ball. Blue and gold date has been announced. Actually, it has. Let me take that back. It has not been announced. But Goolsby is aware of the dates because Freeman's setting up again. John, what's the difference between Freeman and Kelly? Freeman's setting up a full-scale alumni player weekend with multiple events for those guys to do throughout the whole weekend. That's how you do this at Notre Dame. You invite the guys that have been here before and maybe won something to come back. Be a part of the family, interact, feel the vibe, chime in with their opinions. That's what Goolsby's trying to do. The 19th and 20th of April are going to be those dates. I don't think they're public yet, but we're trying to plan out our festivities for Blue and Gold. And Goolsby mentioned to me, I know you're going to want to know these dates so you and your people can figure out, your tailgate stuff. So it is going to be the 19th and 20th is that weekend. Whichever day Saturday is going to be the day. So everybody could start planning for that. And we are going to have a fun party. That's for sure. If the weather would be just a little bit nicer, it would be really, really nice. Like, I don't need it to be 73 and sunny. But how about just not 32 and doing everything? How about that? And again, it didn't bother me none. I just kept drinking my Miller Lite. I was never cold. There was never a moment that morning I was cold. Let's put it that way. You have enough Miller Lite for breakfast, you feel great. I was floating on air, cold air, rainy air, sunny air, windy air. You name it. We had it. All right. Thank you so much for Mark. Mark, my wife is mad. I signed up for Peacock again. Do you take calls for marriage advice? No, I don't. Do you know how many times in my house I get a look like, was there just a murder downstairs? What exactly happened that I just heard a bunch of banging and yelling? Like, I'm the wrong guy to come to for any football related marital advice. Okay. Like, there's some phases I go through. I just can't explain it. I'm like, I just need to be left alone. So like the whole month after Ohio State, I couldn't explain it. I just wasn't in the mood for no real life. All right, let's get into this. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I appreciate it very much. Rudy, you got to be there. Put it on the calendar. Bring those kids. It's going to be fun again. And we got to have a Rudiger there. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Yanni Boy out as well. Notifications on that way you will learn it every time a new episode drops. I know you don't want to miss it. Twitter. Search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it if you don't want to look at my face. I don't blame you. I really don't. Call in lines. You know, 312-988-15. You dial it up. Tell me everything you've heard and seen. USA Today, Fighting Irish War. Read all about it. That's the other way, you guys. I've had some people literally message me and tell me in email, John, I love a lot of your Notre Dame takes. The way you think about Notre Dame, I love. But your delivery is not for me. It turns me off. Just, you're too much. I've had multiple emails recently of people that go, I really like, you think about Notre Dame in a different way than a lot of these shows, but I can't handle your delivery. It's just not for me. Go to USA Today Irish Wire. A lot of my themes here, I translate into the articles. So I'm not joking about it. It's a really good way, if you don't want to hear my voice, to get the idea. So if you're one of those people that thinks you like some of my concepts, but not delivery, feel free to go read about it. I do. I try and translate some of these into the articles and break it down. Okay. John needs to read off a teleprompter, all monotone. Yeah. And then we were 4 for 12 on third down, and it was not good enough. And now I am going to break down X's and O's in a monotone voice with no emotion. But because I am doing X's and O's, everybody will think I am smart and that my YouTube show is very informative and entertaining, because I am looking at plays and telling you monotone what Notre Dame should do next time. I don't live that way. Boring. That's the thing about YouTube. People think it's an information product. No, you're wrong. It is an entertainment product. That's what YouTube is. People think it's about information. No, it's about entertainment. It's about entertainment. Nobody cares. If you have good information, but it's delivered boring, then nobody cares. Okay? Pat, give me a break. And Pat, you already saw it. We may as well do this now, early. Where is it? Pat says, I see the moron got himself removed early. He did. You guys, there's limits to this shit. With Luke, the contrarian, I get it, gonna push back on everything I say. But when I log in here at 7:45 in the morning to set this all up and get everything ready, and all I have is comment after comment from that guy calling me an idiot, just really personally, not going at my football concepts, but going at me personally, first thing on a cold Monday morning at 7:40, I'm just not here for it. So he's gone for now. We'll see what name he comes back. There's a line, and I'm just not going to log in excited to start the week, have a fun topic. and everything is just what an idiot John is. Like, that's not even like, let's debate football. I disagree with your opinion. That's across the line, and I'm not in the mood for it today. I try and be real flexible with that stuff. But again, there's just a line. And when it's all just personal on me right out of the gate, and everybody else is like excited to talk Notre Dame and hear what idea I have for the show or whatever, and it's just all, John, you're an idiot, and it's personal stuff, I'm not doing that. Luke, Uncle Luke, whatever his fifth name is, I banned the other four. I'm just not doing that. You want to say, John, I disagree with your idea about football. Here's why. Let's debate it. Let's go all day. Let's go all day. If you just want to say, I disagree with your football take, I want to debate it. Here's where you're wrong about Freeman or whatever. We could do that all day. I never kick anybody out of here for a football opinion. I just can't have it be just that on my own show, that personal against me. There's a line, man. And you got to know, if you're a troll, it's a fine science to figure out where on that line you are. But it can't be 4 comments at 7:30 in the morning and all of them are saying John's an idiot and then think I'm just going to let you sit here. No. Don't forget to go to our sponsor, by the way, ndsubwayalumni.com. Get a looski for your tailgate. Go get a t-shirt. Go get a hoodie. There's a million sites that sell Notre Dame stuff. Not that many of them focus exclusively on the Subway alums. Very important group around Notre Dame. John's an idiot, but he's my idiot. Ain't that the truth, Pat? You don't count. Pat's too far on the inside, man. Yeah, I don't know. Luke Holtz was at Uncle Lou. I don't know about that. That's a lot of effort. If Lou is doing that much to fake on my show, that's a lot of effort. Usually when Uncle Lou comes in here, I know it's Uncle Lou. He wants me to know it's Uncle Lou, and he wants to get me clickbaited to where I respond to something, then he could use it and make fun of me. So usually when Luke does it, he wants me to know. And when Luke's called, which has happened before, his number comes on the caller ID and I know his real name. So then he can't sneak up on me there. So I got that all covered. All right. Let's do a couple chats and then we'll get into this. Okay. And we'll see where we go. $5 holler. Thank you, Steven. Dallas loses, still celebrating that. Happy Martin Luther Day. Here's the problem with that Dallas thing, you guys. It's all, I'm not a Cowboys fan. I'm in Chicago. Cowboys don't mean nothing to me. It's all fun and games to laugh at the Cowboys messing up on the big stage and all that, being the brand they are, and having the fan base they are, and the Jerry Jones, all of this. It is very fun for everybody to pile on Dallas and their fans online on social media when they're playing like anus in the biggest game of the year. It's all fun and games till you take 1 minute and then realize in your own brain, this is how a lot of people feel about Notre Dame. Then it's not so fun. I went through that phase yesterday. It's all fun and games until you realize the way most of America looks at Dallas is how a lot of people look at Notre Dame. A lot of attention, a big brand name, a huge following. Everything they do is breaking news. But when it comes winning time in the biggest moment, you can count on them to fail. That curtailed some of my excitement or enjoying watching those guys mess up and lose. When you realize that is how a lot of people look at us. Huge fan base, big brand name, a lot of history, but in the modern era, fail repeatedly. Doesn't matter what happens when they get to the biggest moment, fail factory. That is the moment where I started not having fun making fun of the Cowboys yesterday. So I just ask, keep that in mind. That same way a lot of you feel and look at the Cowboys is a lot of ways people look at us. And I don't like it. I don't like it. And in fact, the topic today is going to be about how some of that needs to change and might actually change. Andrew Gilmore. Rodney, I got you at 818. We'll get that phone call in. John, I liked your video on Patreon about the 12-team playoff. I personally think it's a much tougher run for ND. Can you see them beating two top-tier SEC teams? It's asking a lot. Andrew, thank you very much. Again, Happy New Year. Glad you're back from Europe. I did a Patreon with Goolsby, and I was just debating, is the 12-teamer make it harder or easier for Notre Dame to get over the hump and win a championship? Easier access, harder to win it when you're in a 4-game run against top 12 teams. So easier access, yes, but harder road once they're in. And I was debating in my mind philosophically and practically if it makes it harder or easier. It's hard in a lot of people's minds, even the positive Notre Dame fans, to see them going on a 4-game win streak against top 10-ish teams. That's hard to wrap your mind around, but somebody's going to do it. Probably isn't going to be 4 games because somebody will get a bye. But that's interesting. And we're not going to know till it plays out a few years of seeing Notre Dame in it and what it looks like. Do you get that home game? What does that parlay into? We're going to have to see how it goes. I don't know. Here's another topic on my mind. Eric says, good morning, John. There's a lot of winning going on here in Michigan. Go Lions. Very likely it's San Fran or the Lions who go to the Super Bowl. Listen, I would like to know, what in the hell did people in Michigan do to ever deserve this level of football happiness? Michigan wins the championship undefeated, and the Lions are playing great, competitive, high-level playoff football. I just need to know, what exactly did that fan group and media conglomerate in total, what did they do to deserve this level of football success? Other than you could say be miserable the last 30 years or whatever. Like maybe that's your answer, being miserable all these decades. And now, Michigan wins and the Lions win a playoff game. Fine. But there's no less deserving group than that lying media contingent that works on behalf of all Michigan interests and the fan base that doesn't know how to treat anybody with dignity or respect. I cannot understand how they are deserved of all these football benefits. That was on my mind all weekend. Here's a good question from the Ohio Pod. If you were the head of a major college collective, what percentage do you give to the 3 following categories? Freshman recruits, transfer guys, current roster retention. Really good question. Then we'll do a phone call. Then we'll get into this. I don't know the percentages, but the freshmen are getting the least because you haven't proven anything. The freshmen are getting, I don't care if you're going to say, oh, well, then you're not going to land some of those guys. There has to be a line to some of this. And I'm not giving the big NIL deals. I'm not giving them to a freshman who hasn't proven a damn thing. I'm not. If we want to do something or have something contingent on your first, I don't know. But that's the one I have trouble with. I'm not shelling out a ton of money to a freshman that's proven nothing. I'm all about NIL and getting these guys and all that, but the least amount is going to freshmen who haven't proven anything. And if that means you don't get a 5-star, guess what? Notre Dame hasn't been getting 5 stars my whole damn life. So it'll just be a different reason we didn't get enough. But I'm not giving guys that have proved nothing a ton of money just for showing up. I don't like the precedent that sets. Where this gets really interesting is transfer guys. Notre Dame's philosophy is if there's a guy we want, we could pay to get him. And that's what they've done for 2 years. Current roster retention, that's interesting. That's interesting. How do you satiate those guys that are already on your roster? And they may be going, no, wait a second. You're going to the portal, throwing that amount of money to somebody that hasn't even been in the battle, the foxhole with us at Notre Dame, and you're giving them that big money. What about us? What about us? So I think you got to be careful about that, how you manage what you're throwing bags at transfer guys and then your own guys. Ohio Pod, here's the other thing, though, too. When you're talking about current roster retention, NIL, this is one of the few areas I think Notre Dame does have an advantage. There's not many areas in the modern era where I'm going to say that Notre Dame has an advantage. This is one. And the reason why is a lot of those Notre Dame guys that are in the program multiple years, they want to be Notre Dame guys and they want to get that degree. And that's a big deal. And they're a few years in already. A lot of those guys are not going to go, I'm a junior, now I'm going to shop myself and go to the highest bidder in the SEC or something. That's not a very Notre Dame thing if they're playing and things are going good. I'm not talking about guys that aren't playing. That's different. So this is a very interesting question. I do think Notre Dame is protected and insulated a little bit because of the amount of guys that want that Notre Dame degree and they're bought into Notre Dame. So that's how I look at it. Freshmen are getting the least. I'm not giving these amounts of money to guys that are right out of high school that have proven zero on the field. I'm just not. You could do some deals contingent on good grades and you doing this and that, but it ain't going to be as much as transfer guys that have a proven body of work of how good they are and what kind of guy they are. I don't have that of those freshmen. And then the current retention, I think it's less guys leaving for another school and maybe guys just to come back and not go pro if they're fringe. And if they're proven Notre Dame guys, hand that out. I'm giving most of it transfer guys, roster retention, and then a couple deals on contingencies for the younger guys. I can't make it make sense to give the high school guys that much money when they've proven nothing. How does that motivate them to work their artists when they're given, $300,000 just for being a high school kid and showing up? It rubs me the wrong way. $2 holler from Rodney. Truly, a new dawn of college football has arrived. I've been thinking about this. Rodney, I've been thinking about that with the Michigan thing and the new playoff and all that kind of stuff. It really is a new day. It really is a new day. And then it just makes you wonder where Notre Dame falls in it with that expanded playoff. How are they going to survive that gauntlet? Like, what's it going to look like? I don't know. But the Michigan thing is real. It's starting now that the initial anger of that is wearing off. Now it's starting to be more like, it just makes you motivated, I think. If you're like Ohio State or Notre Dame, there's some sick extra motivational gear of having Michigan win. There's like, I don't know, there's like this extra gear of wanting to push it that I feel from like Notre Dame and Ohio State. Maybe I'm totally off. I don't know. Yeah, the Ohio podcast says, very interesting take. I might have to do a video on that. Look at the differences between ND, OSU, and the other top programs. Yeah, that's a very good point too, Ohio podcast, because I believe every place is different. The culture's different. The money's different. The priorities of the people that have the money are different. Who writes the checks? Like, there's a lot that goes into that. But that's how I would look at it. The least amount for Notre Dame's sake is going to unproven high schoolers. Retaining guys from going to the league is a bigger deal to me than protecting them from jumping to Notre Dame and going somewhere else. That's just not that big of a thing of the guys that play. That's for guys that don't play and they're mad about it. Like, you let them go. So that's how I look at it. And then let's be honest. If Notre Dame needs a portal quarterback, they're getting the most money. That's just the way it's going to be. That's just the way it's going to be. So you're going to get, that's how I look at it. We got a couple calls here. And then I'm going to get to the calls because people got stuff to do. And then I'm going to get into this. I did just a little experiment over the weekend. And I had a couple phone conversations and it all came together. And I'm going to go over some of this with you, talk through it, even bring up my Twitter and show what I was talking about. Blyberg, John's the most lenient podcaster in all ND media. Try the other shows, see how long you last. I really try, man. I try. And I am not a person that has a lot of patience. If you couldn't tell, you really gotta overstep. But today was not the day to have 4 paragraphs at 7:30 a.m. The first message is up here. I'm all excited to start a new week. Talk Notre Dame with you fine people. I'm in a good mood. Bro, I pull it up and it's just all personal stuff on me. I'm just not in the mood. You want to debate football philosophy, we could do it all day. You want to tell me my take is wrong for reasons 1, 2, 3, 4, debate it all day. But when it's just personal against me, but you're on my show and I have the power to not let that happen, I got to draw a line. I'm sorry. Let's see what a couple of these callers think. 818, good morning. Hope you're warm, my friend. 618, you're coming up next. What's going on?
Well, John, you remember of course you remember, the rant you did on cats?
Yes.
Last week? Yeah, I got to admit, I was slightly offended. I have other people that feel like you do, and I'm like, man, that's like somebody who, never is going to try to learn something about something because you actually do have an allergy to it, so you're never going to be able to get close enough to get the nuance of what having a different cat versus this cat is like. I've had many cats my whole life, man. Most of them have been wonderful animals.
Rodney, I made that. Rodney, I cut that up and I made it as a short and I just haven't posted it yet. So I'm excited to post that cat rant. And you know how I am. I cut up the little weird stuff that happens as the shorts. And I have that one staged on a day where it's slow. I'm going to put it out and just see what people say. I'm excited. It should be funny.
However, I'm going to agree with you on one thing, man. My cat, wants to get out all the time. I try to let him out, once in a while. It started getting to be a little bit of a habit where now he wants to go out like all the time because he loves it outdoors. I get it. I understand why he loves it outdoors. But he has this thing. He doesn't understand. Oh, it's too cold. Oh, it's raining. Oh, it's snowing. Oh, it's freezing. Dad, do something about it. Change the weather. I want to go outside. I want to enjoy the good weather. And it's like, dude, you can't leave the door open so half your body's in, half your body's out, and my heating bill goes up, $8 million, dollars and cents or whatever. And it's like, he doesn't seem to get, I'll let you outside. Okay, go outside. Go.
You can't trust the cat.
Come right back in. Not even 2 minutes later, he's freezing. And it's like, and then he's right back to the door, wanting to go out again. I'm like, it will not change. It's going to be that cold.
Can't trust the cat.
That is very frustrating.
I will never trust a cat. The only way I'll trust a cat is if I have a pet lion who loves me. Okay? That's the next time I trust a cat. Do you ever see like the videos of like those like people in like the United Emirates or whatever, all the Saudi oil money, and they literally have like jaguars as pets and they like lay on the couch with the owner like a lap dog and it's like a lion or something. Maybe I'll trust that. Rodney, what did you mean?
Hey, Mike Tyson had his tiger in his bed.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
at one point.
What did you mean when you said truly a new dawn of college football has arrived? I flagged that as being very interesting. Can you explain to me what's in your mind when you say that relating to Notre Dame? I just want to see where your mind goes because I've been having that feeling too now that the season's ended and kind of calmed down and you could think of everything. I'm kind of feeling that too. Explain that thought to me. What's all the ingredients of that?
Well, sure. Yeah. So first of all, of course, 12-team playoff next year, 14 playoff is now done. It's going to change the way the college football season feels because I think what you're probably going to start seeing if I'm a person who does scheduling, I think you're going to see schedules come out a little quicker than they have before. I don't think you're going to be doing these 7-8 years out kind of thing. I don't know. Actually, I'm not even sure how conferences work. They probably do it differently. But and also, I think you're going to see teams not schedule rivalry games at the end of the year. You're probably going to see them schedule them, maybe early on, mid-season. You get those games out of the way. Now, if you have to play them again, now you're getting a different experience. You're not getting the same kind of game. God forbid Michigan plays Ohio State at the end, and then they play each other in the first round of playoffs or something. Who wants to see that? I do hope that there's something maybe they can tinker with there as a playoff committee. Like even if the seeding is as such, if it eliminates a rematch, if there's any way to do that, like where let's say the one team would still deserve a home field advantage because they finished ahead or something. Then does that mean, okay, let's say that was Ohio State that got that home field, but they already played Michigan, they already had, okay, now we matched them up against, I don't know, Notre Dame because of where they're ranked or whatever. I wonder if there's going to be some of that flexibility, but also, John, obviously, Saban retiring and Kalen DeBoer moving in. I mean, and then, of course, if you want to spread it out to football in general, you got Belichick that just left the Patriots. You got Pete Carroll who's fired. Yeah. I don't know if he's going back into coaching.
Rodney, that's like my life.
And, of course,
my
the NIL
entire life. My entire cognizant football life since being like a young teenager has had those three guys being the face of all the football. It's just kind of wild, man. We're getting old.
John, think of it this way, too.
I'm getting old.
Here's the other thing. You're right. I mean, I think Saban was hired in 2007. That came after Notre Dame's absolutely worst year we've had. 3-9 that year. After Charlie Weiss had a couple successful seasons, it was kind of, that had really been the furthest Notre Dame had dropped at that point. We started kind of climbing back up a little bit. Then, Kelly was hired a couple of years after that. So you can kind of say that era, even for Notre Dame football, started at rock bottom when Saban got there and then slowly rose, to where, okay, respectability again. Okay, now national conversations and prominence on the field again, but of course not being able to get over that hump. I think, like we just saw, it happened to Michigan, but I am happy for the state of Michigan. I'm really happy for the Lions and all that. God bless them, man. That was fun watching them win that game last night.
Man, you know what, dude? Here's my take on that. As much as I don't like Michigan people, I do not have it in me to not like Dan Campbell. He is the most football-y of all.
I love him.
He's the most football-y of all football-y guys. He genuinely loves everything about football and everything about his team. And I can't not like a guy that loves winning and loves football as much as he does. I remember earlier in the year, they lost a close game. The guy had tears in his eyes and they were genuine. And it wasn't like crybaby whining. It was like, he just loves winning so much. Like, there's something about a guy like that motivates his guys to run through a wall for him. I'm always going to like. I'm sorry. I just am. I don't have it in me to not like that guy.
Well, and I can understand, the distaste for some of the people in Michigan. But let's be honest, man, there's those that living in the Detroit area. I mean, you talk about having to feel the blues, in life. I mean, for the past 30 years. I mean, that is a city that deserves something good to happen for it to jumpstart some of that. I know that they are making apparently some renovations in downtown, but they got a whole long way to go, to fix that city. Yeah. That'd be a way to jumpstart it, man. I'm telling you that. Good for them. I really hope that they win it all this year. I really, really do. And I love the way they play football.
Rodney, let me ask you this. This is where my mind's going. Is the bar next year for a good Notre Dame year to just, just make the playoff? Or do you have to make it and win a game? Or does it matter your record when you make it? Like if you went 11-1 and made it and then lost in the playoff in the first round, is that different than if you went 10-2 and made it and lose in the first round? Like I'm really trying to figure out what the bar is that people are going to be happy with. People are saying, oh, make the playoff. But if you went 10-2 and made the playoff and then lost in the first round, how's that different than losing another bowl game if you have 2 losses? People wouldn't be happy with it. But if it's in the playoff, it's okay. It's the bar now that you got to get in and win it.
It is an interesting where we are. That was the last point I was going to make. Sort of the 8 team and have to win 4 games in a row. But I keep coming back to this, John. Okay, so first of all, to answer your question, I think to be specific, if we get to the playoff and lose it, it's still improvement from where we were this year. It was improvement from where we were the year before. So let's say we go to the first round, we have a home game. That would suck, by the way, if we had a home game and lost it. I don't know, man. I think at the Notre Dame Stadium on December 20th, and by the way, there are pundits out there that are predicting Notre Dame to be number 5 in the country, number 8 in the country. That would get it. But if you're in the top 8, that gets us a home game.
Yeah.
If we're in the top 8, it gets us a home game.
Yeah,
so
and we've already went over that. We've already went over that. You want the 5 seed if you're Notre Dame because you get the home game, and then you also play the non-Power 5 team that the group of 5. And then if you win that in the next round, you play the lowest ranked Power 5 conference champion, probably avoiding the SEC and the Big Ten champs, which are largely, 2 of the stronger conferences. That's Notre Dame's path, man. That 5 is golden for us.
It sure is. But I also think that moment, man, it's unprecedented. No one's ever seen a home playoff game in any stadium on any college campus ever in the history of man. It's never happened. It's going to be the first time for a lot of teams next year, but imagine Notre Dame Stadium, and we don't know how cold it's going to be. How a lot of times in December it's 60 degrees for God's sake.
I want it cold. I want a winter. I want a winter wonderland. I want them guys like Miami looked the other day, just lighting barrels of garbage on fire to stay warm. I want them miserable as the Dolphins head coach looked in his floppy winter hat. Like, I want misery. I want a warm team to come up and go, what the hell planet are we on? I hate this. That's what I want.
I'm praying for it, man. I love that. I would bring on any Southern team that time of the year.
Rodney, did you watch that Dolphins game? Did you watch that Dolphins playoff game?
No, I didn't. That was one I skipped.
Bro,
I did not
telling
see
you,
the game.
When they first, how they zoom into the game when the TV broadcast starts and they show guys warming up, the quarterbacks throwing or whatever, and they do the intro to the game, all the Dolphins looked totally miserable. They looked totally preoccupied with the weather and which jacket give them warm. And they zoomed the 2 seconds into that broadcast. I went, well, they're in trouble because I can already tell they're totally thrown off just by being in this weather. They don't want to be there. The head coach with his glasses fogging out, nobody wanted to be there. Except for Liam Eichenberg, our old guy, was the only guy with no sleeves on. Matt Radke, I'm glad you brought that up. I saw those tweets, and it said there's one guy on the Dolphins without sleeves. And who is it? The Notre Dame guy that's used to the cold. I love it.
That's great.
And Smythe,
that's
too.
awesome. I love
Smythe,
that.
too. So only the
awesome.
Notre Dame guys. Only the Notre Dame guys.
Yeah, and of course his first name is Liam because, Liam's tough. They can handle anything, right?
There you go. So, Rodney, I don't know, man. We're entering a big change in the sport. And you know what else I'm going to say? It's a Monday and I'm going to go far. Rodney, I'm going to give you this. I mean this. I think if a lot of guys were in Marcus Freeman's shoes right now, Notre Dame's getting left way behind in a lot of these college football modernities. I think if it wasn't a guy like Freeman, we're getting left behind. He is getting things done. He is getting some messaging to the powers that be, and they are listening, and they are letting the guy cook, which is all I could have ever asked for. And what I've been asking for is to let this guy cook. They're doing it. If you didn't have a guy this modern and with this work ethic pushing us further into this modern way to do thing, I would have real fears Notre Dame would fall so far behind because there's so many big moving parts now. Freeman's pushing it. The powers that be are listening, and they're trying to accommodate. It is beautiful, man. So I am, things are trending up for Notre Dame.
Oh, man, I couldn't agree with you more, man. I'm telling you, it's fun to watch. That's why I'm, with all the patience we've had to endure over the past 35 seasons, of not being on top. The one thing I will say, man, and now we're going into year 36, by the way, since our last national title. The one thing I will say, man, is it is so awesome if we're going, okay, so we've already talked about it ad nauseum. He had his setbacks the first year, but they got better as the year went on, and it was tangibly better. I mean, you could see him improving right before our eyes, the head coach. This year, we come in, we have a better roster, we're looking faster, stronger, but we still fall short in those big moments. But at least we can say, okay, now it's kind of feeling like we can play with anybody. We just have, okay. So, and then your thing about the road, the road woes this year. If you remember the first year, it was at home. They had those problems. Yeah. They had problems at home, and it was on the road where I just think a lot of it is ebbs and flows. And I'm telling you, that's another aspect, the psychological aspect of Notre Dame football. And I can tell with Freeman not ever mentioning that, at least I've never heard it in press conferences per se, because you got to talk football. And he understands that there's a psychological element to this. Harbaugh mastered that this year. He absolutely did, man. Give him credit. He figured it out over several years at Michigan.
Yeah.
Getting all the football stuff right, getting the physical nature of it, getting players that are up to par and transfer guys. And I also think that's interesting too, because those guys that are talking, you mentioned something about, they didn't have to be, we were in the foxhole together. Those guys are in the foxhole too. They just weren't in the foxhole with you. They were in the foxhole with somebody else.
Yeah.
And they earned their way here. And that's why I like that the guys that he's getting from transfer portal were guys who I think have, so far, the ones that he's brought in, I like them. They're Notre Dame guys. So, and it's almost better because you see them in college and actually becoming good college players, ready to maybe make their next step. Not guys who are coming in as freshmen that are like, well, we don't know what we're getting, Yeah. So I think that he's actually handled that great. So I'm telling you, man, winning 4 games in a row is tough, but also I still come back to the fact that Notre Dame will get their bye.
Yeah.
Every year, Notre Dame will get their bye. They get it on Championship Saturday.
Yeah.
Everybody else has to play that game.
Yeah. Wait. Good point. And in the old days, I would combat that point by saying a lot of those conference title games are that only in name only. When Michigan gets to play Iowa, who only has half of a team because they have no offense, that doesn't count. All those years, Northwestern with 4 losses went to the conference title game because they won that shit division on that side.
Yeah, but that won't be happening no more.
Exactly. That's
now you'll get two best teams.
That is the one thing that I always used to push back on with that conference title thing is if it was really competitive games between good teams, I would understand it. Now you're going to get a more well-rounded tournament where the 2 best teams, regardless of division, will play again. Even if it's a repeat, it's good on good. I agree that changes things. Good point by you. You're on it on a cold Monday.
Well, and also, John, I think the one thing that kind of threads the needle a little bit more, or maybe comes back, maybe it's not quite a bye, but getting that if we can get in to the point where we're having home games, or, I think that's a major advantage if you're at Notre Dame Stadium on a home game on the 3rd week of December. Because even if you're playing a Midwestern team, that vibe in that stadium is going to be like nothing you've ever experienced before in a playoff game. So I think there's again, being the road team, that's a little different. But here, one last point, John, I'll let you go. Here's where it actually could be an advantage in Notre Dame. This was the point I was going to make that I forgot to bring up until just now. This is interesting. With all the scheduling issues we had this year and things of that nature, does it maybe favor a team like Notre Dame that has to play, good teams in odd moments throughout the year, where someone like Michigan that stacks some schedule with 8 easy games and then is all backloaded, gives them a little bit more, of that physical, that little extra prowess at the end of the year, maybe to get through it. But someone like Notre Dame who's playing, the kind of these odd schedules, and does that build a certain amount of toughness in you to be able to make that run at the end?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I get that.
That's going to be interesting too.
I do. I get that. That cuts 2 ways. I was wondering that with Michigan, how are they going to react when they play a good team after having 11 warm-up weeks or whatever, and they were able to crank it up another level and get through it. But I get what you mean there. Battle tested, used to a big environment, all of that. I am telling you, man, I have my heart set on a home Notre Dame playoff game in December, and you win it. That is Notre Dame Stadium history even Rockney would be proud of. And that is going to be a magical
right.
moment. That's going to be
that's why focusing on the
Rockney's ghost is going to be smiling because he was the ultimate marketer.
Oh, God, yes.
He was the first social media marketer, social media influencer. Like, that was Rockney's deal. The guy died flying to LA to make a movie about Notre Dame. Like, I'm telling you, he was the original social media influencer. He would love Notre Dame winning a home playoff game in his damn building. And I'm excited just talking about it. I love it. Give it to me.
Yeah, those people say, Rockney would be shaking his grave if he saw where college football's gone. Bullshit. Rockney was always at the forefront of modern renovations. He always was.
That is an awful take, because if you know anything about Rockney, you know he was pushing promo and marketing and branding. He was one of the first guys to get in that. And what he would have done
is the forward pass, John, the forward pass.
Who needs that? No big deal, right? Notre Dame, right? Oh, if you worry about that at all. But Rockney would have found an angle to make sure Notre Dame was positioned within all this, just a notch above everybody else. Like, it's just, he would have loved that, all of that. So, Rodney, what a good call on a Monday. We covered a lot of ground, man. Thank you very much for this.
Yeah, you got it, buddy. Have a good day. Oh, J.J. McCarthy declared for the draft. Is that maybe a harbor of Harbaugh off to the NFL? Is that an indication? I don't know.
Yeah, and I saw that he interviewed with the Chargers too. People are looking at their lack of transfer portal activity at this moment as a sign of that too. The problem is, Rodney, they won the champion. Now he gets to leave a hero. Like, it doesn't.
Oh yeah, you're right. Whatever.
It doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah,
it doesn't do much for me. If they would have lost and he left, that would excite me a lot because the Michigan people would be miserable. Seeing him leave, the ultimate martyr winner, and that clown fan base's opinion is, I can't get over it, but it is what it is, man. Hey, thanks for the call on a Monday. Stay warm and keep that cat away from me. Okay.
I know, man. I know. This is fun, though. College football, we're in a good place, I think. This is going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. All right, guys, enjoy the ride.
Have a good one. I'm telling you guys, if you want to kill me, I got a 951 and a 618 going to be the next up. If you want to kill me, lock me in a room and throw a cat or two on me, dude. I can't handle it. It's the dander. Dogs, doesn't matter what dog, doesn't affect me. Any other animal doesn't affect me. You put me in a room with a dumb house cat, my throat closes up. My eyes start closing up. I can't breathe. It is death. It's death. And one time, here's a good story for you. Everybody likes when bad, embarrassing things happen to John. Here's one for you. College girlfriend. You know how that is. You're in college and you meet a girl. So you're not like from the same hometown, but you meet her at college in that ecosystem and you're dating. And then the dumb holidays come and it's like, Amanda, Pat. And it's like, do we have to do the family like holiday thing with each other's? I just told you, Pat, Amanda. And you're doing like the whole, we just barely been dating and like, college, and then now you have the awkward, do I have to go to their Christmas and Thanksgiving and ours? That's kind of awkward. You meet a girl a couple months and then you're doing that. So I get invited to their Thanksgiving, which is like 24 people at like the last supper table, and it's November. So, you have your windows closed and it's cold and everything. I didn't think anything of it. We're sitting there. I don't know any of these people other than this girl. And there's 24 people here in her family, and they're all looking at me. Oh, Amanda brought home her boyfriend. Everybody judge him. You know how it is. You got to be, you know what I'm saying? You're sitting there cutting your food careful. You know everybody's looking at you. And I'm sitting there minding my own business, trying to watch my P's and Q's and be all, respectful of this new family and all this shit. I'm sitting there. There's 24 people at this table. And my throat starts to get scratchy. We're eating Thanksgiving. My throat starts to get scratchy. I'm like, man, I'm like, am I getting sick or what? Couple minutes later, my eyes start itching. I'm itching my eyes. Couple minutes later, my nose running. by now, I'm literally coughing at the table like nonstop. Like, I mean, I'm like really struggling. And it registers to me, like I'm turning colors now. I cannot breathe and my throat is dying. But here we are again. John finds himself in a situation. I know something's wrong. I feel like I'm dying. I don't want to be the one guy out of 24. Oh, excuse me. And get up from the dinner table and everybody's looking at John. I don't like these situations. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be the one to get up and leave and you got 24 people eyeballing you. Where's he going? Is he going to shit his pants? What? You know what I'm saying? Everybody's staring at you. What the hell's wrong with this? I did not want to be the one to get up. The only person to get up and leave this table and have everybody looking. So I decide and go, what's wrong with the new boyfriend? I don't need those eyeballs on me. So I'm like coughing, and it's getting worse. And I'm trying to eat, but I'm kind of choking. I can't breathe. And I lean, it occurs to me, there's got to be cats in this dump. Like it occurred to me, there's got to be. I'm dying. I lean over to Amanda. I go, tell me. I should have asked this before, but I didn't think of it. I'm like, is there cats in this house? And she looks at me and she goes, yeah, 2. And they're the big furry ones. Not even like the cat with the cough, with the little fur. You know, them ones that look like a dust ball. She goes, yeah, there's 2 of them and they're the long-haired ones. I said, where are they? She goes, well, I knew you were going to die. So I told them to lock them up in the back room. Is this not good enough for you? I'm turning purple. What do you mean, is it good enough for me? Now everybody's looking at me and I'm turning purple at the dinner table at Thanksgiving. So then I'm dying. So then we have Blyberg. Good one. Then she's saying to the whole family, oh, now we got a problem. John's allergic. Now grandma's looking at me. Everybody's looking at me. Like now everybody's looking at me like I have leprosy because I'm the one guy at this table that's dying that has a problem. Everybody else is just enjoying their meal. And then I become the star of the show. The problem, I'm laying there dying. I'm choking. It's 20 degrees outside. They bring me outside. I'm laying on the front steps of his house just to get fresh air outside. I'm laying there dying. Everybody's looking at me. Everybody's judging me. I'm the new guy, and I'm causing all the problems. I disrupted the entire Thanksgiving for 24 people, all because of these freaking hairballs. Hairballs! Unbelievable. I was dying. I'll never forget it. And then you reach a point with this. Where you're so sick that you don't care if you're embarrassed anymore. You get what I'm saying? There's that line where you're like, I don't want to cause a scene in front of these people I'm trying to impress, but I'm dying. So something needs to we crossed that line to where it was like, I don't care if this ruins the whole dinner and everybody's embarrassed. I'm going to die at the table. I was literally laying outside on the steps, splashing my face with water, opening my mouth, trying to get cold, fresh air in. Everybody's grandma's got a remedy. Everybody's cousin's got an idea how to make me feel. Just give me some Benadryl. Let me go home. Just give me some Benadryl and let me go home. Pat, yes, but it was at like 4 a.m., like 9 hours later, after my national nightmare. Thanks for asking, Pat. Took a while. Anyways, that's my worst cat story, bro. Could not have happened at a worse time. I was totally embarrassed in front of all these people. They all think, they all probably think, this idiot's got a weak immune system. Don't let him near the family or something. I did not appreciate it. And I made sure there was no cat. They thought if they just put those rats with long hair in the basement, nobody would notice. I was turning purple. So she leaves. Everybody goes back and eats. I'm dying on the front stoop. Then she leaves, drives me back to like where her parents are, where we're staying. I got my head out of the I got my head out of the car like a golden retriever on the way home, trying to let air in my throat so I could breathe. Unbelievable. So that was a total nightmare. And then, the girl hosting it was crying. Oh my God, I feel bad. Look what I did to John. I didn't want to cause this shit. I didn't want to cause any of this. This is what happens when I'm in a room with cats, if you must know. Unbelievable. My biggest fear in life, my biggest thing I hate in life is being an inconvenience to other people. That's like one of my number one things is I never want to be an inconvenience to others. You know why? Because I don't like it when people are an inconvenience to me. So I try and take care of my own shit so I don't need to inconvenience or put undue burden on anybody else. That's a big deal to me. All right? I don't ever want to be a burden to anyone. And this turned into a nightmare. Her cousin's crying. Oh my God, I ruined Thanksgiving. Oh, no, you didn't. Just quit crying. Go back there and eat the turkey and let me die on the front porch. Son of a gun. Anyways. So that's a John Cat story. You never know where this show's going to go. I'm going to cut that up. That's its own episode. I'm going to cut that out. It's going to go. I don't know how we end up here, you guys. Pat and Angela do love this because they know the girl involved. That's why they think it's funny, because they know the history of the girl and all of everything else that came before and after it. That's why. Not the one I ended up with long term, if you're asking, by the way. Anyways. Oh, yeah, Pat. I know all yours too. Ask Frida how she's doing. 951, let's have a little fun. Welcome to the show on a Monday. What's up?
Hey, I wanted to first say I've been meaning to call for a while. I listen every day when I'm driving to work, but obviously I'm driving, so I can't be calling at the same time. But I'm from Los Angeles, and I know you were on a rant about Michigan winning the national title, but being a Notre Dame fan since the early 90s, Michigan wasn't as big of a deal to me. It was more Alabama breaking my heart.
You know what I've learned over the first thing is thank you for calling, man. I want, new people to be in all the time. So thank you for calling. And also thank you for your patience of listening to my cat rant. I appreciate you holding through that, man. Thank you. Here's what I've learned. Which team and fan base you despise the most as a Notre Dame fan, to me, I've seen that it kind of varies depending on geographics. Like I've often asked myself, if I wasn't a Midwestern Chicago guy, would I feel the same way about Michigan as I do? I think about it. And if I lived in LA or out west, would it be more USC focused with much of my ire? I don't know. So I do admit me being in the Midwest and Chicago the Chicago area has something to do with that.
Yeah, I think, I've traveled quite a bit, and I think that in the Midwest, people are very passionate about all sports. And here in Southern California, people could probably name Caleb Williams, and that's about it from USC. They're pretty fair weather fans, but I've been to a lot of USC Notre Dame games, and it's disappointing that when Notre Dame was getting blown out by USC in the early 2000s, the USC fans would be leaving early, and the Notre Dame fans would be staying and watching the game.
Yeah.
The USC fans were just there for the event.
Yeah, they are.
So
They are. It's a very fair weather fan base, and I get it. It's LA. There's a lot to do. I get that, but I just hate it because people like us are there whether we're happy or miserable every game. Let me ask you this: you mentioned Michigan winning it all. Are you a Notre Dame fan who takes any corollaries from that? Do you look at Michigan winning and saying, okay, it isn't SEC top 3 recruiting, not how they did it, really good physical defense, and then a power run game, like that could be a formula? Are you a Notre Dame fan who kind of connects those two and sees an overlap that could be encouraging for Notre Dame moving forward? Or how do you think of that dynamic?
100% I agree with that statement. I think, we see on ESPN every year how the SEC dominated, and then to hear that schools like Notre Dame, Ohio State, Michigan struggle, and they would contribute it to the weather. It's really good to see those teams perform at a high level. Kingston just posted a photo on his Instagram the other day when they were moving into the campus at Notre Dame, and he's in shorts in the snow. And we've always had this stigma of these top players don't want to play in the snow. They don't want to deal with that rough weather. They'd rather stay in the South or in the West Coast. It's a big selling point here in Southern California. Right now, I think it's mid 60s and sunny today here in Southern California. So it's huge for me because that's something that I always heard was the weather's terrible.
You know what got me? The picture at KVA. He's in slides. The shorts are one thing, but him wearing the slides, there's slush and snow and ice everywhere. And my man's on Eddy Street wearing the slides. You know what, man? I love those dudes like that. Like, I don't care about the weather. I'm here to play football. Nothing's going to bother me. I love that mentality. I enjoyed that photo very much.
Absolutely, man. I think Freeman's youth, and I think a lot of the changes at Notre Dame, I've been going to the campus probably since 2008, fly out there probably every other year, and to see how nice the campus is and all the add-ons they're doing. I think they just need to add on to that training table, and I think they just hired that new strength and conditioning coach that's going to modernize everything. I donate every year to the university to get better tickets, better seats, and I'm just waiting for that email to come to me saying that they're going to renovate the Goog.
I am being told they're close to announcing that very, very soon. And I've been told that for a while, that the money's been earmarked and they're close to announcing. And here's the thing, man. A lot of times when this facilities thing comes up, people will say that's overrated. That's not as big of a deal as we make it. Notre Dame stuff is fine. You don't need the most modern of all luxuries. All I'm saying is, I like those projects because it is documented proof of literal investment in furthering football that everyone could see. It's not behind the scenes support or like little things change it. I like an announcement like that because it is just on paper verified resources to further the football effort, and it's clear as day for everybody to see. I like the messaging that puts forward. It's less to me about, do you have three bench presses in this room or 4, and how nice are they? No, to me, it's more about the messaging of that, showing everybody we want to invest in further in all this. It's about the message that sends more than the practicality to me. Does that make sense? You get what I mean?
Yeah, I think, and I hate to say that Notre Dame's a business, but in a way, the football is a business, and to see the business invest in their business more is great to see, because those locker rooms for years, they were pretty outdated, and you were seeing these videos of Alabama and Texas A&M with the best of the best, and so it's good to see Notre Dame investing that money, because God knows they have the money.
Yeah. Oh, man, they definitely have the money. I want to ask you this too. I love this because you're somebody that it looks like you called a couple times, but it was maybe back in this season. Let me ask you this. I feel like in almost all areas that I value the most around this football program, the arrows are pointing up. I feel like the staff people like now. I feel like the talent's getting better. I feel like NIL is not a problem the way we worried it'd be. You're getting a little more flexibility in the portal. You're getting maybe some upgrades in facilities. I feel like Notre Dame's arrows are pointing up. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think losing Kelly in the moment was terrible. I remember everybody had YouTube live streams and thousands of people were watching all the streams.
Oh, I love it.
But I think it was a blessing in disguise.
It was one of the best days of my life.
I think it was a blessing.
It was one of the best days of my life.
I know he was.
There was no, the only thing I did is march to my basement. And the number one thing I said is, it needs to be Freeman, get it done tonight. And then I loved this. Like, I needed it to be the guy I wanted, and then I loved it, right? That's the way it goes. Anyway, sorry I interrupted.
No, you're good. So my brother is a huge Notre Dame fan, probably even bigger fan than I am. So we talk about this often. And, for years, there were so many excuses given, academic standards, different things. Kelly just couldn't get it done. And I think Freeman, man, I pray every day that he has success, because the guy, he sees a hurdle and he just figures out ways to overcome it. And I was texting my brother last night that this class that just came on the campus this weekend, I mean, this class is stacked. We're going to see them playing against Texas A&M, and that's not normal. Kelly would only play the fourth-year guys, the fifth-year guys, and with Freeman, it's that he keeps a fresh rotation all the time. And it's when you look at teams like Alabama and things like that, they don't play. These guys aren't getting 60, 70 snaps a game. They're rotating in and out with the youth, and I think Freeman's got a good thing going with that.
Yeah. And you know what else I'm starting to think when I look at the big picture? 618, you're coming up next. When I start looking at the big picture of all of this, man, it's like, I genuinely mean this. If Kelly left and they hired somebody else, maybe without the energy and the drive of Marcus, I think Notre Dame would be falling behind. This is a young man's game to a large extent with coaching these days. If you really think about all the responsibilities, so much more than like 30 years ago or whatever, I honestly think college coaching might turn into a younger guy's game because of all the running around you got to do all the time for recruiting and roster management and NIL and the portal, all the extra stuff you have to do. It makes me wonder if we really are heading into an era where in a couple years, you're going to have general managers in college football. I'm telling everybody that's a thing. That this going to be the next trend is having a general manager for your college football team that is like the vice president to the head coach. And that does a lot of this stuff with the messaging and with the purpose the head coach wants. I believe you're going to start seeing that. So a lot's changing. And I don't think if you didn't have a guy this energetic and modern, I'd be worried. He is pushing Notre Dame in the modern era, being like, we need to do this. We got to get more involved in that. We got to get doing that. He's moving it along, and the powers that be are listening. It's a beautiful thing, my friend.
Definitely. Last thing I want to cover before I head out is I'm so happy that Saban's retired, and I hope Harbaugh's in LA right now. I hope he stays in LA, because that just opens up more recruits to us. So I appreciate the time, man.
No problem.
A new day in college football, hopefully.
Yep. Hey, thank you very much for being a listener and calling. And your phone line is crystal clear. I appreciate that too, man. Thank you very much. Call again whenever you have a thought, man.
Thanks. Bye.
Take care. Look at that guy. LA, my man's donating. Did you catch that? He says, I donate every year, man, waiting for the ticket upgrade. Adam Dowling, I saw you in here. Maybe you and him could get in together on that $40,000 little weather protected private viewing area there, Adam. Adam's always talking to me and Pat. Hey, it's only 40 grand and we could get ourselves an indoor suite and the weather don't matter for the Notre Dame games. Adam, you need to get in touch with that dude. Oh, what do we got here? Christopher Morgan, captain's brother, $5 a holler. I just spent 6 minutes to warm up the car to go to 7-Eleven, less than 4 minutes walking distance away. -4 degrees here in Mishawaka. Yeah, hey, somebody got to tell me this. Have you guys, wait, time out. Am I getting ahead of myself? Everybody's asking what Tommy's doing. Twitter was flooded of messages saying he was going to Georgia to be the co-OC at Georgia. Did that fall through? Why do I see 1 million people in the chat writing, where does Tommy boy end up? What's he going to do? all weekend I saw that he was at Georgia. But I don't understand how everybody doesn't see that. Was that a rumor that's not official? Or what? That's what I heard, Tony, co-OC. But I got some people in here that don't know, saying that they didn't see that. Irish Mike, I thought it was a joke. I didn't think it was a joke. They were clickbait. I don't know. I didn't know whether those were jokes or not. Maybe I am wrong. Those reports are valid. Okay. I don't know. I saw some college football accounts, though. Not like random egg logos on Twitter. Whatever. Don't matter to me that much. The only thing I want is Tommy has goals of being Notre Dame's head coach. Okay? Tommy has goals of being the Notre Dame head coach at some point. That is a goal of his, a priority of his. He loves Notre Dame. When that would be the issue. If you're a Notre Dame fan, I guess you should he wants to come back. Maybe you want Tommy to go get as much experience under anybody else. And then you know what I'd like? Let him be a head coach like at a Troy level or something like Parker. And let him work out all how to be a head coach, see how that kind of goes. And then maybe when Freeman's ready to leave in a handful of years, we see where Tommy's path is. I don't know. But I'm just telling all you people, I don't think you've seen the last of Tommy Rees at Notre Dame. I sincerely mean that. I don't know why that's in my heart. I sincerely don't think you've seen the end of Tommy Rees at Notre Dame. And the only way he goes back is to be the head coach. It is a goal of his. It's a priority of his. He wants it. I'm just telling all Notre Dame people to keep that in mind. Johnny says, went to a Bama channel that's been live since Wednesday. They thought it was a rumor. All right. Maybe that, I don't know. But yeah, that was kind of weird. I saw a bunch of those messages. So maybe it is a rumor. You know how the internets are. Pat, come on, bro. The only professor I remember is Dr. Day. He gave me an A and John a B in the same class. John was a straight A student until that class. I'm still not over it. I'm still not over it. Straight A's in every class, all through college and grad school. And I have one stupid class that overlaps with Pat. And we had a 4-foot-tall Indian professor doing math. And he called everybody little kid. He'd say, oh, it's Friday. Don't go drink, smoke cigarette. Little kids, behave. Little Indian dude. He gave me a B. Pat gets an A. Only B I ever got. Only B I ever got. And it had to be in the class with Pat. And he's doing his Pat stuff. You know what I mean? He loved every second of it, knowing how mad it made me that I got a B and he got an A. And it was the only B I ever got. I didn't appreciate it. Oh, Pat, I used to show up at that class drunk half time and I still got an A and John got a B. It had to be the only class I ever had with Pat that overlapped in college. I get a B? You got to be shitting me. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm angry about it still. That professor's probably still alive at the ripe age of 174. Michael Phillips, $5 hour. I believe the ND admin is supposed roying Marcus B issue of how he sells ND for the 4 for 40. They love that he doesn't push back on academics. Michael, here's the thing I see. What I see is it's hard to recruit at Notre Dame. You can't just cast a big net, get anybody, whether they could read or write. No, we all know there are challenges to recruiting to Notre Dame. Here's the difference. Those challenges are always going to exist because of how Notre Dame's built and its proximity and location in the country compared to where the talent is. It's all about your mindset, and it's all about your messaging. This staff says we get an opportunity to get on a private jet and go meet with some of the best high school players and coaches in the country and tell them how great a Notre Dame education is and what this football program is turning into. And I can't wait to get on that jet and go spread that message to all of these people. That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is, it's really unfortunate that here at Notre Dame, we're shopping down a different aisle and it's hard to recruit. And, we're really limited. And when we got a guy we like, we got to get on that plane and fly around. And it's an inconvenience. And there goes your afternoon because you're flying around and this and that. And it really holds us back. And winning is hard. And you all got to understand that we have these challenges and kind of tone down your expectations. Look at the difference in the mindset between those two ways of thinking about the job of having to recruit to Notre Dame. It's all about how you frame it. One group looked at it as an opportunity. I cannot wait to go sell these guys on Notre Dame, tell them how great it's going to be to get their degree here and come work with us. And it all depends on your mindset and your messaging. Okay? Kelly was shopping down a different aisle, but it wasn't one imposed by Notre Dame. It was one imposed by himself. If you try hard enough, you could find guys. You could find guys. Okay? What is he talking about? The best part was balancing your checkbook and calculating your mortgage interest. I'm assuming Jessica does those things for John. Bro, balancing your checkbook. It's called online banking. There's nothing to balance. When I spend money, the number goes down. When money goes in, it goes back up. I don't know what you're talking about. Calculating my mortgage interest, I don't know. The percentage is there. Luckily, I bought this place before the whole world came to an end. Back to work. Have a great rest of the show. Nikki Dean loves to be heard and seen. And I'm going to see you at the Blue and Gold game. And the wife too, man. I missed you guys. 618, we're going to make it great. What's going on a Monday? Uh-oh. We got a sleep listener. Call me back when you wake up. Yo.
Hello?
Are you there?
Yo, what's up?
Oh, man. I thought you did one of those where you fell asleep on me, but you're with me. I love it, man.
Yeah, man.
What's up on a Monday? What's up on a Monday?
But excuse my language, but I don't give a shit what Tommy Boy is doing. I can care less about him.
How do you really feel? I wish you would really just tell me your real thoughts, man. Quit holding back on a Monday.
And I wouldn't want Tommy Rees to come back to Notre Dame for anything in the world, man. Tommy Rees, he left us hanging, and then we have to promote Parker. And Parker was, man, he did a shit job. Man, no, man. Let Tommy Rees stay with Tommy Rees. He deserves everything he's getting right now.
Man, it's interesting. The Tommy Rees thing, he's always going to be a flashpoint. And it's wild. When he was here, none of the results were elite. With the development of the quarterbacks, with any of the offenses, with him as the quarterback, none of it's been near good enough when he's at Notre Dame.
And why would we want him back as a head coach if he didn't get it done?
But why do all of the smartest college football people that everybody respects tell you he's a football genius, though? Let him be a football genius.
Just not here, right?
Yeah,
genius anywhere but Notre Dame. Yeah.
But Dude, that's what I struggle with. I didn't see anything elite at Notre Dame, but then you have the best coach in the land say that the guy's brain is brilliant with football. Well, we didn't see it here, so that always has Notre Dame people feeling weird about Tommy.
We didn't see it here, and I didn't see it at Alabama either.
Yeah, it's wild. But he wants to be Notre Dame's head coach. It is a priority of his. He's got a lot to learn.
And I hope Marcus Freeman stay here for the next 30 years.
Oh, man. Dude, that job ages you worse than being the president during wartime. I mean, that job will wear you out, man. And so I don't know. But I feel like Notre Dame's trending in the right direction, man. And I know that's been said 20 other times, 20 other years, but I believe there's some things that are different about the buildup this time that make me believe that. Am I getting ahead of myself? Am I lying to myself because I just want to not be miserable for once, or what?
Yeah, they are trending in the right direction, man. I mean, not Tommy, but Marcus has got his first 10-win season. Granted, he had to get into, he had to win a bowl game, to get that 10th win. But hey, I'll take it right now. I mean, I want to see what it do during spring, man. I'm thinking about buying I want to go to the spring. I might come down and might come out to Indiana and come to the spring game, man.
Oh yeah. Hey, man, if you're going to do that, I know a wild party you'll be invited to. Look for the flag. We got food. We got beer. We got entertainment. You'll have a place all day, man. We'll have a big group right in front of Frank Leahy's statue. You can't beat it.
Yeah, and I think, and then, hey, I mean, maybe Tommy can go back with Swamp Thing down there, man, and be the OC of LSU.
Yeah. You know what, though, man? Think about it. Don't you think he maybe wants to get out of the shadow of Kelly? And don't you think that he feels like, I don't want to have to be the number 2 guy to that guy's ego all over again? Like, I honestly think Tommy's probably over being the number 2 guy, letting Kelly's ego have all the shine. You know what I mean?
Well, he screwed up Marcus' first season, man. And, going down there where you have to, maybe he's a good number 2. He had to play number 2 to Nick Saban.
Yeah.
He's just a number 2. That's all he is, man.
Yeah. And I don't know, man. It's just I see him wanting to get out of that shadow, and I also wonder if people would like Tommy more if he was a head guy and you could get to know his personality some more. Goolsby's, my Patreon partner's really friendly with Tommy. They talk all the time, and he's not the kind of guy that all the public sees. So there's a whole other side of Tommy, and that's why all those players say they love him and the coaches love him, but we don't see any of that. So there's a weird little thing where I would like to see him get a head job somewhere and give a lot of speeches and see like the personality, just not here. I want him to work that all out somewhere else, and I'll see how it goes. But I wonder what that would be like, not in the shadow of one of these big name guys like Saban or Kelly.
Yeah, I don't think he's not cut out to be the Notre Dame coach, man. He might. I mean, in about 5 to 10 years, yeah, he probably will be cut to be the Notre Dame coach, but he have to be a head coach somewhere, man.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about it no Troy. He got to be like Michigan State or somewhere a lower, Power 5 school.
Yeah, let's see him build something up and be the head guy. I would love to see the culture he builds. I'd like to see the messaging when he's the head guy at all the press conferences. I just think it'd be really interesting. So I don't know about that. Hey, do you think Harbaugh's gone? Is he for sure? Is he going to the NFL? You think he's gone?
Yeah, I think he's gone. I think he's gone. And I think Kelly wiggle his way up to Michigan.
Oh, come on. I heard that rumor when I was in Florida a few weeks ago, and I don't know what to make of it.
That rumor is not coming from Michigan side. It's coming from LSU.
Yeah, it was.
LSU side.
Yeah, it did. It did come from the ESPN LSU outlet. Let me ask this, though. If you're Michigan and Harbaugh leaves, do you consider just promoting Sharon Moore? He already pantsed Ryan Day. He's a young, energetic guy all the kids obviously love playing for. Is that not their easiest move, is to promote Sharon Moore and they just keep it moving?
That'd be the easiest move to do.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that'd be the easiest move to do. But Swamp Thing also has the track record, man.
Yeah. No, I get it. It would be really, really interesting. But when you're looking at Sharon Moore and it's like, he coached circles around Ryan Day in that ball game. He dialed up everything.
Yeah,
he dialed up everything at the right time in the right situation. It all came up aces. He coached that game with zero fear, playing to win. And Ryan Day did the opposite. And Sharon Moore literally clowned Ryan Day in front of the whole country. And I hate admitting it. It was really impressive. Great job by that guy.
And if you really want to know the truth, man, I mean, I felt like, Notre Dame, until the very last two plays, I think they all coached Ryan Day until the very last two plays. There's only 10 guys on the field.
You could argue that as well. Unfortunately, the ending kind of cancels everything else out. Oh, man. Oh, let me ask you this. You're a regular caller. We touch base all the time. Man, is it good enough to say Notre Dame just needs to make the playoff next year and it's a good year? Or do they actually have to get in and win a damn round in advance?
Man, I think they got to win at least one. At least one, and because then that'll get Marcus from, because I still think the shadow cast over Marcus from, you still got the haters for Marcus Freeman out there. The people that, he won 10 games. He won, the Kelly situation is still hanging over Marcus' head. I still think it is. So he has to get in at least win one game. And if he win one game, he has did something that Brian Kelly didn't do.
Yeah.
And Brian Kelly never won a game in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, Brian Kelly got booed out both times he was in the playoffs.
Yeah. No, I'm really starting to think that, man. The last, in the season, you're like, make the playoff. Now I'm starting to wonder, man, I need you to win around here, man. Set this thing off right. So I don't know. Next year's a huge year, and it all starts with that Texas A&M. They got 21. Who was it? Adam Dowling, I think, from the chat sent me a text. 21 transfer guys Elko's already gotten to flip and go into Texas A&M. 21 as of this morning. And it makes you wonder, how long does it take to get all those guys on the same page? How long does it take to get all those guys bought in on the culture, seeing things the same way? That's what I wonder. Mike Elko's going to figure it all out. By game one, year one? I don't know about that. That's where my messed up brain's at now.
And the thing about the transfer portal, man, I was speaking to a buddy of mine. He said, man, look at all the quarterbacks that transferred in the transfer portal. They tried, they wasn't quick fixes. The year two, they came back and looked better than they was in year one. So, look at Daniels, Jalen Daniels from LSU. Look at his numbers of year one compared to year two. The only one that I can really say that really Penix did great both years he was at Washington.
Yeah. Let me ask you this too. What do you think is the biggest thing that has to come together for Notre Dame to make a real playoff run next year? It's such a simple question. I'm glad I asked you. You're the most regular caller I got. You and Rodney probably. What do you think is the number one indicator, the number one area of focus for you that will determine whether we're able to do this or not? What do you think?
Man, Marcus got to get them to play, man. He got to get them to play every game. Every game is a playoff game. Every game during the season is your playoff game, because everybody that you play against is going to basically say, this is our playoff game.
Yeah.
So you got to basically, man, every game that you play this year has got to be a playoff game from Texas A&M all the way down to the.
Man, it's really interesting. Here's what I like about this. What I like about this is, did you notice if you look back at our losses, they're different. Like not all how you arrive at a loss varies greatly, and there are trends over time or programs or coaches. Notre Dame's losses were different. There were no losses this year where you were like, physically, we don't line up and we had no chance. No. All of those games were physically winnable. It was other stuff, such as sleepwalking in a Super Bowl against Louisville, not being ready in Death Valley. Those things keep me up at night, man. How are you not ready to go into those moments?
And now, hopefully we got rid of the problems of not getting the kids ready. That's Marcus. That's some of the blame fall on Marcus. Some of the blame fall on the coordinator. So what you got to do is Marcus got to sit down with the coordinators and the coaches and the position coaches. Hey, we got to treat every single game like it's our Super Bowl. We got to treat every game like it's a playoff game. Because if they treat every game like it's a playoff game, and I believe that in at least 11 of those games, they're going to be the best team on the field.
Yeah.
So, I don't think A&M going to be better than them. I don't think Florida State is going to be better than Notre Dame. And Louisville not going to be better than Notre Dame.
I don't think USC is going to be either. USC shouldn't be either.
No, USC is, in all 12 games, Notre Dame should be the favorite, and Notre Dame should be the best team on the field.
Yeah, no, you're right, man. All those games are just so precious. You can't overlook any of them. Notre Dame needs to match the moment. And understand you're getting everybody's best shot, and you got to overcome it and be ready for it. You don't have to get as up as them. You just have to be up enough to tamp them down. Like, it's unrealistic for me to expect Notre Dame to have the same energy starting the game against Louisville as Ohio State. They're just vastly different moments in time and vibes. You don't need to match their intensity. You just have to match it enough so they don't beat your ass. That's all.
I think if Notre Dame actually go in there and play like, hey man, these players say, hey, we're going in there and play every game like it's a playoff game, like the playoffs started in because I think that game against Texas A&M is August 31st. August 31st, we need to play. This is our first playoff game. This is our first playoff game because we're going to be in College Station. They're going to give us their best shot. Their fans is going to be up for it. This is what they've been waiting for.
Yeah.
We got to show them that, hey, we're the better team. This is our playoff.
Yeah, man. And the other thing that I tie into this is you need a couple of those alpha players. I'm talking like I don't know why I need somebody to take the lead here, and I need a defensive game wrecker, and I need an offensive game wrecker. Like those guys where it's like when it's winning time, they're going to go do it. And like I need those dudes to start emerging. I don't feel like there was enough pure player leadership last year. Who was the vocal leaders that got us through? I don't know who they were. I need to see some of this tighten up a little more. Give me a guy on each side of the ball that's that guy. On third down, he's going to sack the quarterback. Like we need those dudes.
I need Jeremiah Love to be the best player on offense. I need him to be the best player on offense. I also need the guy from Duke to come up with 10 to 12 sacks this year. This needs to be the year that we show the world that, hey, we're not too far off from the Bamas, the Georgias, the Ohio State. We're probably better man for man than Michigan. So, I didn't see nothing special about Michigan. Matter of fact, and it's so bad up in Michigan that, hey man, you'd have had 3. I was telling somebody on Twitter the other day, they didn't have 3 5-star talents in the state of Michigan, and all 3 then got away.
Yeah.
Over the last 3 years.
Yep. It's interesting. I don't know, man. it's just, you're waiting for it all to come together for Notre Dame. You see these roots, you see these bits and pieces that are good enough. You see all this kind of stuff. Notre Dame needs to put it all together and have one of those Michigan years where the culture's right, the vibe's right, you play good on the field, you have good leadership, good messaging. That's what we need, man. And I hope we're getting there, but I do, there's some real excitement for 24 and we're going to see how it goes.
I do see if Notre Dame come out and play every game like it's their playoff game, I see them finishing up 12-0. If they be on BS on some games and not be ready for some games, I also see them finish up 9-3 again.
Yeah, man, it's just, you got it with this schedule. Here's the key. If you beat Texas A&M, then you should run it all the way late into the year. Florida State at home should be the next big one you're worried about. Like, it's that big of a deal.
I'm not really worried about.
I'm just telling
Florida
you, though.
State is losing
but
too much.
in between A&M and Florida State, Notre Dame should win all those games. So if you could get A&M, you set yourself up for a run, baby. And then if you get that one, each one you win a week after it, it builds and it builds and it builds. I hate saying it, but week one's the key again. Here we go again. It's just, come on, win one.
Is there anything saying about the 12th game? Because I know they got 11 games.
The rumor was Army at Yankee Stadium, but Army's changing something with their conferences. So then they were going to renegotiate what else they were going to do. I'm going to tell you this, though. If it's not Army, it ain't going to be some big brand name. They're going to fill that game with the lower level game. They're not going to go schedule like a big name out of where we're at right now. So,
we don't have to have a big right now, man. The way that everybody showed that how you schedule, look what Michigan did this year. Michigan scheduled cupcakes during the season, ran through the Big Ten, and ran through all the way to the national championship. So we don't have to have no big name, man. Let's just get that 12th game because, first of all, we don't play a conference championship. And the highest seed that we can get is a number 5 seed. You know.
Yep, you're right.
Whether we rank number 1 at the end of the season or we rank number 10 at the end of the season, the highest seed we can get is a 5 seed. So at this point, you know, after hearing that, I don't care who they play. Let's just get into the playoffs. And once we get into the playoffs, it's anybody ball game.
Yep. Nope, you're right, my friend. Hey, good call on a Monday morning, man. I want you to stay warm and stay in touch, okay?
I'm going to try, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to try in this negative 2-degree weather, man.
It ain't easy, man. But stay warm, and I'll talk to you. Thanks for the call. I love it when he calls, man. Every damn day. He calls every damn day. Jason Smith. Strength of schedule isn't a huge data point, obviously. You know, is that not one of the biggest lies in the initial 4-team playoff era? Is it fair if I ask that? I think the idea that strength of schedule really matters is probably the biggest lie of what this 4-team playoff era has been so far. All you hear about is strength of schedule, strength of record. Who do you beat? What are you doing? You know, what is that? You know, who are you beating and strength of this and that and who you play? I hear all about that in August. I hear all about it when they're looking at team schedules and going, oh, you got 5 top 25 teams. Or if you're Michigan, you play 80 high school teams in a row. I almost said something bad. Wow. When I talk about Michigan, it just flies out. Do you see my face? So I hear all August about strength of schedule and who you're playing and all this, and it matters so much for your playoff seeding and all that. Then we get into the year, the beginning of the season plays out, and then we get into where they start doing the playoff stuff. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter because what they do is, if you're Michigan and you're in a Power 5 conference, then they say it must be a tough schedule because you're in the Big Ten. So naturally, it must be tough. The group of people that have all the power in this are the dumbest fucking people there are with all this shit. It just pisses me off. The people in charge of it are the dumbest people at analyzing it. They literally think just because Michigan's in the Big Ten, it must be a tough schedule. And the whole strength of where you play, it goes out the window. It goes out the window. They literally just figure, oh, it's the Big Ten. It must be tough. It's Power 5. We got to respect that and back off. Why? And with Michigan, it isn't just the strength of the Big Ten. It's that you chose to play 4 other blind kids schools for the other games. It's also that. It isn't just the in-conference, where I get it. You can't help. Some of those teams aren't good. That's not your problem. You just got to play who comes up next. I know all that. But where's the penalty for scheduling 4 high school teams outside of it? There is none. There's no accountability. It's a joke. The people that are supposed to look at this the most understand it the least. They literally say it's the Big Ten. Tough schedule. It's tough. It's a great conference. That's what they do. I hate it. So here's one good thing. When you get into the 12-teamer, a 12-teamer means the power that whoever this group's going to be for the 12-teamer, they're going to have less power. Because it's easier to get the teams that should make it in there if you have 12 shots at it than 4. And I'm not going to feel bad for the 13th team left out that I am the 5th now. So I do like that the expansion to 12 makes those people matter less because you're casting a bigger net. 3,500 Hail Marys, 2,500 Our Fathers, John. I'm sorry, man. That one, it just leaked out. It just came out. I'm sorry, man. But whenever you turn this into a Michigan thing, then I just start having a seizure. You know what I'm saying? So I do like that with the 12 teams, you should be able to get them in there and get them right. You know, like there's no way that like all the teams who realistically have a chance to win a championship aren't going to be in the 12-teamer. So I guess that's good, right? So I do like that it lessens their impact. Seeding and all that, we're going to have to see. But if you're a good enough team, you're going to get a chance in this format. So I do like that. Beetlejuice, you're always forgiven with me, John. Well, God bless you. And my second Bible, known as Frankly in the Fighting Irish. Keep it right here at all times. So that's kind of where we're at. Let me look at this super chat real quick. There was one I didn't read yet. $10 holler from James. James is an usher at Notre Dame. Had the pleasure of meeting James at the Central tailgate. Before the game, he came over looking sharp in the whole outfit, the whole deal. You know what I liked, you guys? We ended up with a good group of people that work at Notre Dame at the tailgate. We had multiple of my grounds guys, Chip and Cam, my ground staff that do the on-the-field stuff. They opted in a go-kart, came over. We had multiple ushers. We had a couple people that worked for the band. We had a lot of people come over and to hang out with us. Some of them I didn't even know before. It was a beautiful thing, man. It was a beautiful thing. Yeah, to tell you to sit down. Oh, that's funny. Nobody told me to sit down. Chip and Dale. No, it's Chip and Cam, but close enough. Oh, man. All right, you guys. Here's what we're going to do. I didn't even get to any of the shit I was going to talk about. I didn't. I have this whole thing and this roadmap, and then I was going to show these tweets and go over my position. We're not going to do that. I'll just save it till Wednesday. because this thing has a life of its own. And then I had to go over how I almost died. And now I'm going to have to end the show and cut that up and post it as its own episode. Like, I'm the only one who covers Notre Dame football that can post a 20-minute explanation of me almost dying and embarrassing myself in front of other people and have it work. Can we talk about Brittany first? That's another one that's very interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting, Pat. She is a new age. She fits in the new age of dating dynamics, we'll say, Pat and Rudy. That's what we'll say. She fits into the modern way of dating where anything goes. Anything goes. And so it's kind of wild. All right. Next shows, I'm going to make fun of Angela's dating history and Pat's too. That's what we're going to do the next time. You guys are all giving me crap. Wait till I start telling Pat's stories and Angela Rudiger's stories. The three of us are the Office scene where they're all sitting there with the guns pointing at each other and then they all are going to shoot each other. It's like, who's doing what? We all got heat on all of us. So I suggest you all be nice because we all have heat on everybody. All right, you guys. I'm going to put my episode back in the can and we'll do it Wednesday because this turned out to be plenty entertaining on its own. So I'm going to just kind of hold on to what I had and then that'll be Wednesday's show. This took a life of its own. Can't we all just get along? Dr. John, the problem is I get along with Pat and Angela way too much. Like Dr. John, that's the problem. That's the problem. I get along with Pat and Rudy way too much. That's the issue. We all know way too much about each other. All right, everybody. God bless you. Stay warm. Keep your pets warm. Stay indoors. I don't know what to tell you. Are you having any of them shock quakes, those freezing quakes I've been reading about? I don't know what the hell's going on. But you guys, you all take care. Dr. John, safe travels. The callers, thank you. The chatters, thank you. The donators, thank you. Everybody, this was a fun start to the week. And I'll have to cut up that explanation of me dying, and we'll go from there. Have a good one.